The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You're listening to the Sports Scramble Podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
Let's go!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble Podcast, brought to you by Belly Up Sports. I'm your host, Chet. I'm joined with everyone tonight, and like I did last week, got them all in order. Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler on the YouTube. If you're watching, you saw that magic. I was sending out tweets, I was posting in threads, and I was all over the place all the time.
Yeah, you dogged us for $10 for that promo, so we need to get it in order, you know?
Yeah,
and have it mixed match.
I'm 2 for 2 this year, so we'll see how long it lasts. But how are y'all doing this weekend? Y'all have a good weekend?
Yeah, doing good. Happy Sunday, y'all, and happy Tuesday for our listeners, as this show will be out on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're
True.
talking.
I got secrets out. We record Sundays, publish Tuesdays.
I think they already knew that.
All I gotta do is catch us on YouTube, and you'll see us.
Although,
live
if we drop some championship game predictions that are spot on, it could just look like we're you're predicting the future here, you know?
Yeah.
Hey,
Absolutely.
I mean, I've got a wild one for y'all that we'll get to in a second. But first, I gotta know how Futch is doing in that Boston Bruins little pullover he's rocking. How are your Bruins treating you?
My Bruins are treating me good. They're number one in the NHL this year. Only lost 2 games at home all season, so I guess home ice advantage is a good thing. So no, it's good. I haven't been able to watch as much hockey as I want to because NBC.
Because you're working hockey.
Well, yeah, that and NBC doesn't carry any of the NHL games anymore, as ESPN's kind of taken that back over. So it's hard to get games now without having ESPN Plus or NHL Plus now, and there's too many pluses. I wasn't good at math in high school nor college, so I cannot understand all the plus stuff.
Oh, jeez, here he goes. Blame it on math. You need to.
Streaming requires Wi-Fi.
And it also requires more money.
Yeah. Yep. Money I don't have.
Hulu's like, hey, we'll give you all this stuff for free, like ESPN Plus, and they're like, oh yeah, now your bill goes up $5 a month for the next 24 months.
Exactly.
So not really free.
Yeah. Well, if I get it through Verizon, it was like a free upgrade if you upgraded. This was back when like 5G was just becoming a thing last year. And it's like, if you upgrade your plan to 5G for an extra $5 a month, you also get ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. And I was like, shoot, no brainer right there. And then I'm like, man, that's so much pluses I've got to maintain now to try to watch everything. And like trying to watch a baseball game, you got to have like 14 different streaming networks. And
then your credit card breaks in your wallet last Wednesday, and now you have to resubscribe to everything. That's the situation.
Yeah. Ooh, that one's rough. They
might be good though. I might cut out on some things I don't need.
Well, when you get a new credit card, does it, like, say your credit card expires, does it come with the same credit card number?
Sometimes it will, if it's not a fraudulent case. So I might get lucky, but if that's why you tie all your bills to your actual account in case of that situation. So
yeah, but
it's good for streaming. I might be able to cut out on trim the fat a little bit. So
you need to hop on Rocket Money. I use that for all my budgeting, and they like cancel your subscriptions for you if you don't want it. Like I was on there just looking through stuff, and it was like, you're paying $3 a month to iTunes. I was like, why? Because you're subscribed to Apple Arcade. And I was like, I don't even play games on my phone. Cancel. I go through.
That was another Verizon one. I recognize that one.
Yeah,
they gave us a free trial of that.
Yeah, and it just starts up because it just starts charging your account, and it's like, oh crap. But no, it's a pretty cool app. I'll have to show it to you next time.
That was a free promo, by the way. They don't even sponsor our show.
Hey, Rocket Money, if you're listening, hit us up. I've been using it for like 6 months now. Got that budget in line, saving money. Gonna buy a house soon. Doing what I can do. Tyler, how are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. We had 2 games here in New Orleans. We went 1-1. Had the Rockets on Wednesday. Been going through some injuries. Zion's going to be out for at least 3 weeks. BI still going through it. We rest some of our starters last night against the Mavericks. We were down at least by 25. They got back to a 10-point deficit. So the boys are reeling with injuries. So hopefully we can get healthy and make a deep run in the playoffs.
I was watching Friday night against the help me out here,
Brooklyn?
with Kevin Durant.
Brooklyn?
Against the Nets.
Brooklyn,
Yep.
yeah, with the Nets. And they were dominating. And then Brooklyn just went on a run and ended up winning that game. I was like, man, with BI and Zion come back, the Pelicans are going to be
They're going to be a force to
reckon
be reckoned with, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, but now that we've hit everybody, we got to get into the main event of the show, Mayo Gate, as I've dubbed it. If you listened last week, you heard us reach out to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, say, hey, we want to come, we want to promote, we want to cover the bowl game next year, and I want to get mayo dumped on my head if that's what it takes. I'll do it. Shoot, all four of us will get mayo dumped on our head. I didn't ask the guys before I said that, but they're gonna have to just jump in with me.
I'll volunteer.
We threw that up on TikTok, threw it on Twitter, threw the clip out, and the Mayo Bowl liked the video, liked a comment that I had, hey, Mayo Bowl, let's make it happen.
And then they came back to the page because they didn't follow us back immediately. So they're stalking us. We get it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what, so that
Mayo
they
Bowl,
liked my comment. Yeah. I mean, just slide into the DMs. They're always open. They liked our comment. And then I accidentally tagged the Mayo Bowl fan account, which I'm surprised that exists. The Duke.
Okay, Twitter, everything can exist. They have fan accounts of everything.
TikTok. The dude's got a whole fan account page on TikTok.
With no videos.
Yeah, that was also kind of strange. But no hate, because he pointed me in the right direction. They liked that comment. Then they liked the video. And then they followed us. And I was like, oh, so Wade slid in their DMs. Haven't got a response yet. But they followed us on Twitter after they followed us on TikTok. So I mean, we're living in their head a little bit. So we'll keep reaching out to them. It may be too early. I mean, it's a year in advance, but hey, you got to start somewhere. So
maybe they're moving up in the ranks. Maybe they're going to take over one of the Florida Bowl games or something,
It's going to be a New Year's 6 bowl game. Mayo Bowl, baby.
Oh, my God.
Brought to you by Sports Scramble.
The Mayo Orange Bowl.
Well, I mean,
that would just sound so weird. Have a fruit and have mayo. And
mayo on the oranges.
Mayo on the orange.
You have to. You've got to eat an orange slice covered in mayo.
That is so
honestly
gross.
the best situation would be the Mayo Independence Bowl because we can easily get there.
Isn't the Independence Bowl in Shreveport?
Yeah,
yes, it is.
Centrally located for us.
Where's the Mayo Bowl played at?
In
Charlotte.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
it's
at the
Charlotte.
Panthers.
You gotta know these things in case they call you.
Come on.
Oh, that's right.
Your phone number is on all of the
the
social media, so if they get in contact with us, it's gonna be through you.
Yeah, I know. Well, if they call me, I'm gonna just link
You also have a New Orleans Bowl too,
because y'all know more about it than I do. I just want mayo dumped on my head. Do what, Tyler?
We'll leave.
I mean, they have a New Orleans Bowl and
yeah, y'all go in and cover it
in Mobile. So there's definitely bowl games around us.
Mayo Mobile Bowl. The Mayo Montgomery Bowl. There you go.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine a Mayo bowl game being named after a lending company bowl, like the Duke's Mayo?
The Mayo
lending
lending
tree.
tree. Hey, we'll lend you some mayo for the tree.
So a double sponsored bowl game because they're that poor.
Yeah.
Or we reach out to the guys at Belly Up, be like, hey, how about we get the Mayo Belly Up Media Bowl, and then all of us can cover it. Just spread it around the network. I think that would be the way to do it.
I mean, Barstool did a streaming bowl, so we could do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is their second year in a row doing it. So come on. I know we got some Belly Up guys on here watching. So let us know what we got to do. Sponsor a bowl game. We'll make it happen. We'll partner up with the Mayo Bowl. We'll get a like crane full of mayo dumped on everybody in the stands or something. I don't know.
We just find the rival of Duke,
every time they
like
score a touchdown.
Hellman's
Wait, we
mayo.
could do like a broadcast instead of how they do the Nickelodeon games, the slime whenever they score a touchdown. We'll do mayo whenever they score a touchdown.
I swear, Chet is fascinated with.
I know.
Hungry with mayo. Like,
look,
I think
It's all suspicious, Chet.
yeah.
Do you actually love mayo?
I'll do a
You're just
lot
not
to
telling us.
promote the podcast. Okay, no, I'm an okay fan of mayo. Unless Dukes is listening. Dukes Mayo is the best in the world.
You didn't even let
Here we
me
go. This
cover
is
you in shaving
tampering.
cream that one day when I was running
Tampering.
around the apartment like a madman.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Okay.
Whoa, all right,
it
all
was-
right.
Yeah.
Now
But shaving cream
pause,
washes off and
pause,
it smells good.
Pause. We need to-
Clip that on there, and
Yeah.
we're gonna post that on TikTok, and we're gonna post the picture of you chasing us dressed like a madman. What was that? 11 minutes? We'll throw that one on the TikTok.
It's 11 minutes of Mayo talk.
Yeah, 11 minutes in, we're talking about Mayo and
It's the most I've ever talked about
This
Mayo.
could be a
Like,
totally
I
different
hardly
podcast,
ever talk
honestly,
about
if you
it.
don't know what you're listening to. But Mayo Duke's Mayo Bowl, if you're listening, we know you're lurking in our DMs. Hit us up. We're interested. So, let's get into the big game tomorrow, 6:00. We've got TCU taking on Georgia in SoFi Stadium, where tailgating will not be allowed. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a little disappointing for the pinnacle of college football to come down to a matchup in a city where, maybe they're not all in on the game and then the stadium's not budging on their tailgating rules. Just feels very commercial, very NFL. I do like that they rotated around to different cities, but honestly, ever since it has switched over to the playoff and it's gone away from the traditional bowl games, I feel like it's kind of lost touch a little bit with the feel of college football. I think that when they expand it and they get some of these college campus matchups worked in there, I think that will do wonders. And then we'll have to see what they do with the championships, because they haven't gotten any other cities under contract other than LA this year and Houston next year. So after that, it's completely up in the air.
Is the no tailgating thing like an NFL rule with the Rams, or is this like a COVID rule in California?
It's a stadium rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like a.
If it was
Like-
in Dallas, Jerry Jones would be cool with that. And it's just a staffing thing. I mean, they probably own all the surrounding land for parking and have to have it, with security and attendance and all that. So it's just a way for them to cut out on that.
Well, here's a little nugget for y'all. I've been driving around this small Central Texas town I now live in, and I'm about to give it away if anybody looks it up. But there's billboards everywhere, and it's saying like "proud of our former Wildcats." I'm like, what? And it's Quentin Johnson and Jared Wiley, both play for TCU. They both went to high school here, teammates, and now they're playing the national championship. So I thought
Very
that
cool.
was pretty
Little
neat to see.
hometown.
Chet's next
story.
bandwagon right there, baby.
TCU, let's go.
That's your hometown
All on the
team.
frogs.
It's just like your Astros claim. They're your hometown boys.
I think Texas Longhorns would actually be closer to me than TCU.
And Baylor.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Baylor is actually the closest.
But
In a-
Chet,
And
You can't-
considering you're cutting checks to a subsidiary of Baylor.
right.
But Chet, you can't bandwagon an incoming SEC team.
Oh no, I'm not bandwagoning
Or a high
college
school
football. It would be. It would. Yeah, I'm gonna be out there covering the high school. We're gonna work something out. Actually, so where my wife goes, UMHB, they haven't lost. They're like a Division III football school. They haven't lost a regular season game since 2015.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw that whenever
Story program right there.
I Googled
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. We'll get some media passes there. Their camp 4,000 students. So I think the four of us could cover the. I think they'd let us on. Who knows?
Do they let the PA school suit up?
I mean, they might have to, but I mean, they don't have any problems with the team they have now. They're making it. They lost last year, in the semis.
Well, that might be
so
their advantage. They might have a bunch of 28-year-olds.
That's true. There's all
That
bunch
is
of grad
true.
students playing football.
I
out there.
think what should happen is you just get somebody to sack the quarterback, and the best celebration would be if somebody had like stethoscope underneath and pulled it out and just put it on them.
Yeah, bro. I did my undergrad at Baylor, Waco, and now I'm playing grad school ball. at D3.
Yeah, we got Neil in the comments. What's up, NASCAR Neil? He's saying go Frogs since he's living near TCU. Yeah, he lives in that Dallas Fort Worth area. Maybe we'll see Neil. Well, I doubt Neil will be at the game since it's in LA, but maybe we'll see him place a bet on the Horned Frogs. Speaking of that, lines Georgia -13. We thinking Georgia covers this or TCU's got a chance?
They either cover it by a mile or they don't. It's not going to be like 15. It's either going to be like a 3-point game or they're going to win by like 25.
I mean, after last week's game, TCU completely changed my perspective on this football game. I'm going to just jump into it. I'm taking TCU to win. I might text you tonight.
So you're
put some
flipping?
money on them. Yeah,
So
I'm
you're
We just
flipping
saved
TCU.
our scramble money for the championship game.
Yeah, we'll get into our parlay.
I mean,
woes
so
that
you
we
flipped.
had.
So you were Georgia last week, and now all of a sudden you're on TCU.
I'll stick with TCU.
I'm going
on that,
TCU.
but
Oh,
I
I'm
just
feeling
don't
good
know.
about this now. I'll be the lone Georgia dog, and I'll laugh
My
in
thing
everybody's
is-
face.
My thing is are you going to take TCU money line, or are you just going to take them
The
to
cover.
cover the spread?
No, I'm going TCU money line, baby.
Oh my god,
All in.
You're
All
ridiculous.
in.
that would be a
Do it.
gutsy. That'd be a.
I'm just
gutsy
saying,
bet.
if they
That
give you a
would be-
championship game and they give you 13 points to work with, I mean, I like that.
Well, I mean, it was only like minus 100 with the spread, but it's like plus 400 money line.
Which means it's 4 times as unlikely.
I know, but who knows? It's the championship. I mean, Tyler, why are you still sticking with Georgia? What's your take on that?
I don't know. I just feel like everyone's gonna be down them now after what they saw from the Ohio State game. Like I've mentioned on multiple shows already, that Georgia got lucky in that game. Ohio State definitely played better
Well,
than
I think
them.
we might have
But
lost Tyler there.
Georgia just has that championship pedigree to them. I mean, they've been there last year. They finally got over the hump. And then this year, I think that Stetson Bennett, the way that he's been playing down the stretch. And I know that their defense has been a little bit hit and miss. Definitely TCU is going to give them their best shot that they have. This is going to be a high scoring shootout. I would probably say that it's at least going to take 40 points to win this game. I don't know what the over is, but I would probably be willing to take that.
63.
63, I would take that as well. I think it's going to be like a 41-38 type of game. I think it's still going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's going to be very close. TCU, like I mentioned, they're not scared of anybody. I think they're going to have to play a level of physicality like they did last weekend against Michigan. So it's always a bittersweet for the national championship. It's definitely an exciting game, but it's also the last game of the college football season. We probably will have nothing else to do for the next months. Just watch a lot of college basketball and baseball and all that. But yeah, I'm still on the dogs. I gotta roll that championship pedigree.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia, proves their top dog like they have been all season and comes out. I mean, we've seen this team struggle a few times this year and then bounce right back on the playoff stage. I think that's a poor time for them to struggle, but we know the talent is there, and we know Ohio State for most of the season was the consensus.
It's not like they
number
were a
2
joke
team.
of a team. Like we were all high on them to begin with in the Big Ten. We know what Ohio State was getting back. CJ Stroud finally played like the quarterback that we all thought that was going to play before the season. I had him as a Heisman Trophy winner, and he finally played like it. And then the receivers, I know that JSN wasn't there, but you have Marvin Harrison make some good plays and really test that Georgia secondary.
Yeah, I think that Ohio State, at the end of the day, they deserved to make the playoff, and they proved why they did. So I'm not discounting Georgia from that standpoint. I think that they're still the team to beat here. I just think that sometimes you get a little bit of momentum behind an underdog, and it goes a long way.
I get it.
And I think the public opinion has shifted to TCU, and I'm not gonna say they're gonna win outright, but if we're gonna talk about that 13 points,
that's why I'm surprised that it hasn't gone down.
that's a lot.
It
I
was
think right
12,
now,
so it's actually going up towards Georgia. So are more people just picking Georgia than picking TCU? Because if so, that's a shocker to me. I thought a lot more people would be on TCU,
It's
at
called
least
a
going
sucker
for the
line.
points.
They toss the line out
Oh.
there. They get everybody to take the big gap, and then
I'm looking right now at
Georgia
Caesars
wins.
and it's at 12.5, but I mean that can change up to
Yeah, that's probably going to
to
flip
kickoff.
flop from now to kickoff.
We've got the over under at 63, which I think over is probably guaranteed in this game.
It could be, but TCU has had they can win games multiple ways, and so can Georgia. I mean, if you look at the TCU and Kansas State matchup, I mean, one of those games was very high scoring, the other not so much. Texas game kind of was more high scoring. I think, was it the Baylor game that was in the 20s? So, I mean, just kind of depends. I think both teams can win games multiple ways with defense or slinging it.
Yeah, I'm just
I
going
will
with recent
say, I mean,
games because
TCU's
Georgia in the last 2 games that they've been on the field, they gave up 30 and then 41.
Yeah, if Duggan can throw the ball successfully, this game will
well,
be high scoring. But if they have to run and limit what Duggan does, then that could cut into the points.
their secondary is also, I mean, the past 2 games, which was Ohio State and LSU, I'm looking at, they have allowed 425 passing yards a game between the two and almost 10 yards per attempt. So the over is probably looking nice for TCU. I'm not sure their running back was iffy, but I mean, they were like, oh, he might play if he's feeling okay. Like, dude, it's the
He's
national
playing.
championship.
I mean,
He's
even if you
playing.
aren't comfortable
there's
taking
no,
like a total over, you can maybe hit on the team total points. They usually have that.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I mean, I may not hit TCU money line. I think y'all talked me out
We
of
talked
it.
him out of it.
But
Talk them out
TCU
of it.
spread parlayed with an over, that might be a good bet right there. Futch, what are you gonna hit? You betting on this game?
I don't know. Maybe
Yep,
it's
he's gonna do it.
it's a
We're
coin
gonna
toss.
talk him into it. It's free money,
I
man. It's free money.
well,
Free
not
money
if,
for Vegas.
and not if I lose.
It's free to play.
I guess it's one of those things where it's, like Wade said, it is a, toss a line out there bet and just see what happens kind of thing as far as Vegas is concerned. But I think, I think TCU really is undervalued here. I think in Vegas, I think among just the general public when it comes to the betting world. It's different from your typical fan. The thing is, if you got people betting that are in the analytics that don't pay attention to the game at all, and they're just looking, purely at analytics, and they might come out on top on a bet, and that's what happens a lot of times. It's not the fans of TCU or Georgia that are going to be, hitting stuff like this. I think if my thing is if TCU wants to win the football game, they're gonna have to get pressure on Stetson Bennett and also be able to defend one on one. Because if you're sending 5 guys, more than likely you're going to be playing one on one in the secondary. And Georgia's got good wide receivers. I mean, they're top tier wide receivers in college football, and it's going to be tough to defend them. As far as Georgia's defense is concerned, I think what you might see from Georgia is a little different than what we've seen this year. You might see Georgia only rush about 3 guys, um,
Play a
at
little
least
QB
pretty
contain back
often.
there.
Yeah, and they might play keep everything in front of them type thing. They'll give up points to TCU. The question is Georgia just has to hold TCU under 30 35 points in order to win the football game. So I think Georgia's defense is going to be very critical in this because I mean that's the reason they're almost not in this game is because of their defense.
Mhm.
They couldn't contain CJ Stroud. They stopped the running game decently, but I think if they really want to win this game for both teams, I mean, if Georgia wants to win this game, they got to keep everything in front of them. If TCU wants to win this game, they have to spread Georgia out, throw different things at them. I think both running backs being healthy is a big key for them. I mean, you saw that when they played Michigan. They were able to have fresh bodies out there all the time, and they were just able to go after it. And I think, Quentin Johnson is going to be wide receiver number 1 and probably double covered a lot by that Georgia secondary.
I'm excited to see that matchup and see him go up against an SEC secondary. I know Georgia's not been.
Yeah, he's probably going to be matched up on Keely Ringo.
Yeah, and I know that Ringo kind of had an off game against Harrison last week, but I think that's going to be a matchup of 2 guys that are going to go in the first round, probably in that 10 to 20 range.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say Harrison released a hype video on TikTok today. That was insane. I was like, this.
I heard he might be going to USC.
I mean, I guess it depends on
It
who
would be on par with
who's Ohio
universities
State's
switching
quarterback.
colleges.
That's the thing is, well, that's actually one of the things that would keep him at Ohio State. He actually went to high school with the quarterback that would be the incumbent and for the Buckeyes.
Oh,
So
Harrison
if
Heisman.
Harrison jumped
Okay.
ship, that kind of gives you an indicator of how untrusted the Ohio State quarterback would be if he left his high school quarterback to go chase the bag to USC. But I don't think he ultimately does. His dad's rich as all get out.
Yeah, I don't think he's really worried about the NIL money at this point. I think he stays at Ohio State, finishes the year out, or finishes his career out there, and
That would be with
goes
Kyle
top
McCord.
10.
The name slipped my head at first.
Yeah. All right. Well, our picks for the game. Well, first, before we get to the picks, over under 3 trick plays in the national championship. Bowl games were full of them.
Under.
Like wild jet, like trick
Like
plays or
flea
jet
flickers, like double reverse passes, like we saw all the time. You know,
No. It's no Kansas City Chiefs ring around the rosy.
That was weird.
I don't think so. No, I think it's going to be ball control. I don't think anybody's going to do anything that is going to jeopardize their chance at scoring points. I don't think. I think if anything, I think it would be TCU to do something like that. We haven't seen Georgia do that, and that's not Georgia's
I think
game
it's gonna be TCU
at
if
all.
they do it.
Yeah, if
I'll give
TCU was
TCU one flea flicker.
the problem is in this game, TCU, we've said it over and over again since they've been kind of the main contender in the Big 12 and going to the Big 12 championship, is TCU has nothing to lose. I mean, every game they've played, they just have nothing to lose. And I think that's the same mentality. I think that's ultimately what, is the difference between these two teams is TCU has nothing to lose and Georgia's trying to repeat. Georgia's been there before. Georgia knows what to expect. But it's ultimately they have nothing on TCU. You can watch tape all day long, but TCU is a completely different team. I can't say I've ever seen a team that plays like TCU as far as toughness goes, grit goes, and they're
the true definition of an underdog.
They
what
really are. Yeah,
under
nobody gave them a shot. And, the under frogs, baby. So all right, let's go around the room picks. I think we kind of already did this. I'm on TCU. Wade, you sticking with TCU?
Yeah, I'll stick with TCU.
He doesn't
Fletch?
sound confident.
Yeah, I'll go with TCU as well.
All right, 3 TCUs and Tyler going with Georgia. We'll see. Tyler will probably be laughing at us come tomorrow night.
I doubted Georgia.
I'm rooting for TCU, but I just feel like Georgia just a better football team.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be like a 25-point Georgia win, or it's going to be like a last-second field goal kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching live on YouTube or Twitch, let us know in the comments who you're picking and if you're taking money line or spread. Other college football news, we've got the Aggies making headlines, hiring Bobby Petrino as their offensive coordinator. He was hired on somewhere.
UNLV.
Yeah, yep. UNLV hired him a month ago, and then they poached him.
Yeah,
I mean, it probably wasn't good for someone who's got a record of riding around on a motorcycle with a co-ed and dropping a national championship trophy off the back of the motorcycle and shattering it into a million pieces to be going to Las Vegas. But I don't know if Texas A&M is going to be any better.
Maybe that's why Jimbo brought him to good old Christian, Texas.
And we'll see. Hey, we got Matty Ice in the comments going with the Horned Frogs. We'll see if Matt puts his money where
it's looking like our audience is on the Frogs as well.
They're just underdogs. I think everybody wants to feel good story.
Yeah.
Here's my question. You brought up UNLV. They don't have Bobby Petrino. Have they announced a head coach?
Yeah.
I think they hired him as an offense coordinator. I don't think he was hired as a head coach.
Yeah, no, he was the OC. They have it's someone decently recognizable. Let me do a little on the air research here.
Oh, because Coach O was interviewing for it, and it was the other guy that got it. Oh, I don't remember his name. That's why we need a
Odom. That's who got it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Former Missouri guy.
Coach, yes, and he was at Arkansas as the defensive coordinator in the year that Arkansas finished 12th out of 14 teams in total defense.
There we go. Sounds like a good hire there.
That sounds like a great hire for that.
A&M. Do you think A&M made the right choice going after Bob Petrino, or is this just kind of shortened Jimbo Fisher's time there?
I don't even know if it's really going to change anything. I mean, I think that Jimbo Fisher's still going to be calling the plays, and a majority of it, he's going to have like 20 pages of paper on the sidelines that you can see with his glasses on, trying to find out what's working for him. So we'll see if it works out, but I think that he's still going to take control of the quarterbacks, trying to develop them. So we'll see if it works for Texas A&M. I'm definitely hoping that next year for them is better.
Unless Lamar Jackson walks through those double doors into the A&M facility, it's not going to make a damn difference because Bobby Petrino was washed and
Way to be
limped over to
honest.
Arkansas. Limped from Arkansas over to Louisville and struck gold by having Lamar Jackson on his team for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then he went back into irrelevancy.
Making headlines again. Also, A&M made headlines in basketball news. Their team equipment managers left the jerseys at the hotel, and they didn't realize it until tip-off when A&M went to rip off their sweatsuits. They didn't have basketball jerseys.
Well, to add on to that, Florida shot 2 technical free throws before the game even started. They made one of them, and then ultimately Texas A&M ended up winning the game anyways. So they're 2-0 in the SEC.
All right. Well, I'm going to post a TikTok that rips on the Aggies for 30 seconds. A little
They're going to rip on us
and college basketball combo there.
Yeah, they blew LSU out last night. That was
2-0 in both of the major sports already, so I don't think we can talk any trash to them this year.
My question is, well, first of all, am I the only person with high school basketball experience?
Yes. I've only had intramural experience and one game and like a couple of games in elementary, so you got it all.
I played elementary school basketball against Tyler, 6th grade.
Oh, you did?
I checked in. Your dad was the coach.
Uh-huh.
I checked in, hit a 3, and he subbed me out. That was it. That was my that was my basketball career.
That's all I needed to see. Like, all right,
I think
we're gonna save you for later.
I think I hit a 3 in Tyler's face.
I made the All-Star game, Jacob, my 9th grade year.
Okay.
In church ball. Because each team needed 2 representatives, and my team went 1-10, and I scored like 40 points on the season.
There you go.
No,
you didn't have to give us background. You could have just said that you made that.
Yeah, you had to get the record, and now I get why you were so used to losing for intramurals now.
Yes, I know. I've always been on losing teams.
Okay.
So where were you going with the high school basketball?
My thing is that how do you realize when you get on the court for tip-off that you don't have how many?
It may have been earlier than that. I just kind of made that part up. I just made that part up, but it was close enough they had to delay the game.
Well, the fact they still won the game is pretty hilarious too.
My thing is how early do you get to games? Do you go up for warm-ups and all of a sudden your equipment management is going to put out your jerseys 10 minutes before you hit the freaking court?
That's another thing.
That's my problem.
They're probably
how do they not notice
from
that?
their arena?
Yeah, I mean, most of that stuff is put out the night before or
they were on the road.
Well, still, it doesn't. But that even makes more of a reason for you to put stuff out early. That
get the Neils on them.
Tell them, Neil.
Embarrassment. Yeah.
Yes.
It's an embarrassment.
Yes. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't understand how.
That'd be like Neil not screwing on a face mask onto one of his helmets.
Joe Burrow runs out there with no face mask.
Yeah, I agree, Jacob. Do they shoot around in their long sleeve shirts and not wear anything underneath it typically? I just need more background.
Yeah, it's almost like having a football game and getting
the shoulder pads
to
aren't
the
there.
actual game and then realizing you don't have a football. It's one of those.
About 10 years ago on a Thursday night game, Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech were playing, and I think it was at Georgia Tech, and some students stole the Virginia Tech football uniforms, so they had to wear Georgia Tech's practice jerseys in the game.
That's fantastic.
And
that's even better because
they wrote on it with Sharpies their name and Hokies on the front.
That is so fun. You know that there are a group of guys. There are a group of guys out there that have friggin' Virginia Tech uniforms just somewhere randomly that have a story to tell for the rest of their life. That's fun.
Yeah. There's also a Tyrod Taylor Georgia Tech practice jersey with a Sharpie VT on it.
So, I mean, they must have realized it minutes before tip off because I imagine the hotel is not that far away from where they're playing.
And there's not a lot of traffic in the hustling city of Gainesville.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just an all around bad look for the equipment.
It makes zero sense.
Yeah,
The
just
whole
all
story makes
around bad
zero
look.
sense.
Yeah.
And then they're about on par with the Saints equipment managers from today.
Oh,
Yeah, let's talk
boy.
about that.
Yeah, I need
There's
to
a
Giving up on their
reason.
season and wearing
What was that combo?
wacko uniforms.
I need
There's a
picture of
reason the
that.
Saints haven't worn black and white since the 1970s because it looked awful.
Was it black tops and white bottoms or white tops and black bottoms?
Black tops,
black
white bottoms.
tops, white bottoms, but they don't have any
Oh.
white in their black uniform.
Like I told
Oh.
Wade, the permanent should be the throwbacks and then the color rush, all white color rush.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the
Oh.
black on black look too.
The black tops with white bottoms look good if you have white numbers because it ties it in. But if you don't, it just looks horrible.
Now,
Yeah,
look,
like the
Like
white
at least add a
tops and
stripe
black
if you're
bottoms
gonna
is
like try
okay.
and get white. Like it just
Yeah.
didn't have a stripe,
Or
so it just looked
the-
funky.
It kind of looked like they were naked.
The Saints alternate.
What?
The Saints alternate helmet with the black alternate helmet, black tops, black pants. Those look pretty cool. Just have all black, all white, and then your like throwback uniforms.
I wonder if it
Um,
was a case of like, there are mishaps.
They forgot the
And-
pants and wherever they
Well,
were last week.
Yeah,
That's-
so they
my
just
thing
threw with the
is,
white
well,
ones.
maybe they ran out of because guys do like rip their pants and other things from like people pulling on them and everything else.
And it's
in
week
games,
18.
and
you
I
got
wonder
people
if
that don't
they-
normally play. They need some new pants.
I wonder if they didn't have enough for the game or like they couldn't get them in time. So those pants are like practice pants almost that they had to whip out or something.
I buy
They
your
played like they were
conspiracy,
playing at
other than that
practice.
they wore them last week too.
Oh, so but I don't. Okay.
I
well, then
don't think we
maybe I'm
have
wrong.
a Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech situation on our hands.
I think
mean, it
no,
is a
they announced it like 2 days
multi-billion-dollar
ago.
Yeah,
They were wearing.
They
white
announced
pants.
it. Everybody
That's
in the
stupid.
comments were just
And
like,
Carolina were an
"Hmm."
equally bad combo, so it was just a bad day.
It was
That
just
just
a bad
encompasses
game.
the Saints season
It
right
was.
there. That really
Yeah.
does. It
Icing
really
on
does
the
encompass
cake.
it.
Uniform
Dennis
combination
Allen, get
seals
outta
up
there.
how bad the Saints were this season.
Neil is on point tonight. They can get sewed up in the week. They used to do it for
No
LSU.
excuses.
No
Come on, Saints, be
excuses.
better. Well, if we're about to get into some NFL talk, we first got to thank our sponsors for the college football talk, Fanatics. And the reason I'm choosing Fanatics this week is because come tomorrow night, you're
Mhm.
going to want to buy your national championship gear, and the loser's gear is going to get sent to a third world country, and they're going to think that, oh, Alabama won last year and TCU's winning this year if Georgia were to win it. They send it off to a country that's in need, and they get the loser.
They
gear
probably
that's
think that
already made.
Georgia's
And
a
look at there.
dynasty by now.
I know, really. Look at there, Fanatics with Mr. Jacob rocking the Fanatics Bruins gear. I was wondering why we got that little kickback earlier. But Tyler, you got the promo code for us?
Yes, it's Shiver. 65% off site wide.
She's
Shiver
wearing chrome
Timber.
helmets. That must be it.
What was the promo code you cut out there, Tyler?
It was Shiver.
A shiver with a V.
Yep.
Okay, then I
With a
didn't hear you.
V.
Yeah. So use
I thought it
promo
was
code-
shimmer, like TCU's
No,
chrome
Shiver.
helmets.
SHIVER.
Use promo code SHIVER, SHIVER, for up to 65% off site wide at our link tomorrow night. It'll probably be a different one, but you could go ahead and get that gear now, before the prices get hiked up if you're really feeling good about your team. And of course, we got the playoffs kicking off. You can get
Where are
like
you going to get the gear from, Chad?
Yeah,
Where are you
they
gonna
don't.
get
They
national
don't make
championship gear
it
before
until
the
the
game?
I'm talking
end
just
of
like
the game.
no,
You can buy we are the Peach Bowl champions.
yeah, something like that. We
A
made it to the
consolation
national
shirt.
championship, or you can get you like an NFC East championship shirt or AFC South championship shirt.
Yeah, get that Jaguars
yeah,
AFC South
yeah.
Yeah,
championship.
Jaguar
yeah.
fans, go
You know
on
what?
over to Fanatics and
Sidebar.
get you some stuff.
I've come around on Trevor Lawrence. I was telling Elise this last night. He used to piss the ever living crap out of me, but you know what? I've come to respect that he's
Probably
probably a top
Wade's going
10
to draft him
quarterback.
next year in fantasy.
No, I don't want to go
Definitely.
that far, but I think he's been quiet and he's been putting up numbers. Like I respect him.
Listen, you need to clip this. The marketing team for the Jaguars, if they make it to the AFC Championship game, they need to invest in some sort of merchandise with Trevor Lawrence's headband and his long hair, like that people can wear as like
they
headgear to the
already do.
game, where it's just like the headband and just the long
So
hair.
if you sell mops at
Yes.
Walmart,
So
I mean, I was watching the game. What was it, like Saturday night? And they had fans already with that on.
and
Yeah, all I gotta do is go get a wig and a headband.
Yeah.
and I thought you were going this direction with that, Futch, but they got a TikTok out there right now. I encourage everyone to watch it. Very funny. There's this really annoying fantasy football expert.
Oh, yep. I saw that.
And he
Expert.
like released a
Oh,
take on the Jaguars being like
Jaguars
a terrible
roast
franchise,
them.
and they dragged that guy. It was so funny.
The Zay Jones with a at the very beginning. That was hilarious. Yeah, well, we'll clip that one and throw it on TikTok for the Jaguars.
Honestly,
Hey,
they-
I was high on a Jaguars player. If the Jaguars media, Travis Etienne, I was on that boy.
Yeah.
And honestly, out of the four of them, he was the one that
Yep.
didn't show up as much. So
My thing is that, guys, the Jags have won 5 in a row. That's incredible.
rolling.
Like, that's incredible. I don't
yeah,
like.
You
I
know
don't
what
think
else is
people understand.
incredible?
They haven't done that in
The-
years.
and they beat the
49ers have
crap out of
won.
the Chargers earlier this year, and they play them at home for the playoffs.
The 49ers have won 10 in a row.
That is
Think about
wild.
that one.
With old
With
Brock
the
Purdy,
third
baby.
string.
I made a bold take today. I think that New England long term, I think that they need to invest in somebody other than Mac Jones.
Zappe.
No, I don't think it's Bailey Zappi. I think if they want long term success, they need a young guy that they can develop. Mac Jones is the young guy. But
Bryce
the
Young.
problem is you can't develop him. No, I don't think it's Bryce Young.
You know,
Kick Mac
Jones
Jones
is a
out and
Jaguars
bring in
fan.
his old
I
teammate.
think it's you find a way to get Brock Purdy during the offseason. Because the realistically, when Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo are back, they're not going to pay
dude.
Brock Purdy.
Or New England
Somebody
could
is
just
going-
give it Jimmy Garoppolo
What
since
if-
the 49ers
Brock-
are going to
They're
ship him
never-
off
they're
anyway.
great
They
spot.
don't want
Hold on.
Garoppolo
Jones
back.
for Purdy.
If Brock
would actually
Purdy
be a good trade.
if Brock Purdy leads 49ers to the Super Bowl, Trey Lance is out the door. I mean,
No.
I
They're
think
not
either
gonna-
one of
I'm
them are
keeping
out the
Brock
door.
Purdy.
Jimmy G or
they've
Trey
given-
Lance are gone after the
I'm
They've
keeping
given
Brock
them
Purdy
too
on
much
there.
money. They've given them way too much money to no longer invest in those two guys. Just think
They
about it.
gave
They
him a
just got
signing
Christian
bonus, but
McCaffrey.
the contracts are not that far off.
Yeah, he wasn't a first round pick.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, contract wise, Brock Purdy throw him a bonus, and then it's kind of even.
For a quarterback position, it's not a ton of money either way. And actually, the best solution for San Francisco is to keep them both.
Yeah, and get rid of Jimmy G. That's kind of what you got to do. You run into like a what's their names? Nick Foles and Carson Wentz situation in Philadelphia.
Now,
None of those suck.
if the Niners get bounced from the playoffs pretty early and Purdy's decent looking enough, but that would give them an out to not make him the franchise guy, then yeah, your trade idea would work.
I just think
And-
it's crazy that you would that we would even consider Brock Purdy to be the franchise guy in San Francisco.
I just
Crazy
don't
I mean,
think
the
things
guy
happen,
wasn't
man.
even the guy wasn't
Mr.
even on
Irrelevant.
anybody's radar. Yeah, that's the thing about
Hey,
it. He
the-
wasn't
the
even
Saints
on
will
the
take him.
49ers radar. He was the friggin' practice squad quarterback. That's the thing about it.
The Saints will take Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo, whichever one you want to give up. San Francisco, let us know. We'll take them.
Sure, but
I mean, give defensive coordinators a whole off season though to take a look at them, and it will be there's gonna be a little regression there. I mean, we were hyping up Mac Jones this time last year, and now he finds himself kind of in a bind. So
Mhm.
I like where your head's going though with that. I think he could be available if they get bounced in the playoffs.
Well, that was a very long ad read for Fanatics, but use code SHIVER to get up to 65%
Go ahead
off
and pre-order your Brock Purdy Patriots jersey.
or
Maybe
your
they'll give him
Brock
number 12
Purdy
to
MVP
really
shirt.
spite Brady.
Oh my gosh. That would be something.
that'd be
They
pretty
just give him number 12.
no, I think they're gonna ultimately retire that whenever Tom Brady retires, but who knows when that'll happen.
That won't be till
Yeah.
like 10 years.
Brady could come back.
They'll be waiting on it
Brady
for a
is
while.
never going back to New England. Never.
Hey, he might end up in New Orleans with Sean Payton, according to Rex Ryan. Did y'all
Or
see that?
Vegas.
Rex Ryan says Sean Payton should return to the Saints and bring Tom Brady with him. I don't know how the fans of New Orleans would react to having Tom Brady as the
I think they would rather have that than what they have now.
I think it would be a better situation than the current one, but it's time to just blow it up in New Orleans.
Yeah, well, problem is we have no draft picks to blow it up.
Yeah, that's the
blow
big
it up
problem.
means trading Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and getting picks.
Yeah, they did restructure Michael Thomas's, and they had to make a decision by March 17th on whether they want to keep him or not.
Trade.
Yeah,
I think you keep Alvin Kamara and you trade Michael Thomas.
And you'll be good.
I think you draft Michael.
I mean, you do have some good young receivers. You saw Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, what they did. So even
that's why I think you get rid of
Michael Thomas, then I know like he's been like really good when he's on the field, but the problem is he hasn't been on the field like half his career.
You know what? I think what New Orleans needs is, I think they need to get rid of Mark Ingram. I think he's
still on the team.
Out the door.
Yeah, he got hurt the rest of the season.
Okay.
I think what
they need
needs
to clear
to
the running
happen
back.
is it would be, I think,
they need to draft 2 lanes running back.
The benefit
Tyjae Spears.
of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints, if you traded Michael Thomas for something else,
No,
or either Najee Harris. No, either it's probably a 2-for-1 deal with Michael Thomas.
You got to trade him for draft picks because you just need to go to the draft.
I think you'd have to have the Saints trade Michael Thomas in some sort of cash option.
Mitchell Trubisky
for George Pickens and Najee Harris. I think that would
be NFL young boy. Let's do it.
Dude, they would give us Deontay Johnson.
I think you got to trade Michael Thomas.
He's a good receiver.
I think Michael Thomas is probably worth like 1 first-round pick when he's healthy.
There's really not many good free agent wide receivers this year, so I do think you'll see Michael Thomas get moved, and I'm glad you brought up the Steelers. I do think Deontay Johnson will also get moved.
I think we call 49ers up, say, let us know what you want for Brock Purdy. We'll take them. Or you let the Cardinals hire Sean Payton, take their first-round pick and Kyler, and ban him from ever playing Call of Duty again, and he'll be back to being a great quarterback.
They're not gonna. These quarterbacks are not like replaceable like that.
I don't know. I mean,
if Kyler Murray walked out of the building in Arizona, their entire franchise would have to change because.
Or don't draft Marcus Davenport, and you had your chance for Lamar Jackson in that draft.
Yeah, speaking of Lamar Jackson, I think the team that we're going to talk about the most in the offseason is the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be, because potentially they're without Lamar Jackson pending his contract. They have 0 wide receivers. 0. I mean, they traded away everybody.
You got Mark Andrews, and that's it.
That's it. And as far as running backs go, they don't have anybody relevant on the face of the planet because J.K. Dobbins basically doesn't know what football is because he can't stay healthy. Yeah, and he's lost.
And they've tried to clone Lamar 3 times now, and
it's not.
I think they're learning that he's a little bit better than people give him credit for.
Yeah, it's a shifty little situation down there in Baltimore.
Well, I saw an interesting one there, though. They could draft Anthony Richardson as a project, tag Lamar, and trade him.
That looks bad. That's terrible. I think Baltimore needs to change their offense. I think people have figured them out. It's just they're too.
Maybe. Do you think
Lamar to Detroit and Jared Goff to Baltimore? That will change the offense.
Yeah, really.
Score like 6 points a game.
They better get
Jared Goff.
That boy's not running.
Jared Goff is worth a box of Cheez-Its. All right.
Jared Goff is a top 10 fantasy football quarterback this year.
He's worth a box of Cheez-Its.
He was pretty good when he needed him.
I'm confident that with Jared Goff being my second stringer in Dynasty. Okay,
it's just like the Ravens just need more receivers. I mean, all they have. Well, I mean,
they traded away Hollywood Brown last year.
They had an okay year. Now, really, all you have is Rashad Bateman, and he was hurt for the majority of the year. So you have to rely on guys like Devin Duvernay.
They don't need wide receivers. They need skill players. In general, they just need skill guys. In general,
they need 3 other Lamar Jacksons on the field.
Well, they draft defense first round like every year.
I think their defense is fine. Their offense has been their problem.
Their secondary is one of the best in the league, but they can't have anybody on offense worth anything.
And they had to go to kicker, so they're good in that position.
So I'm guessing Futch's dog of the week is not Lamar Jackson or any Ravens players.
No,
but
it's not.
Let's get to our dog of the week here, and we'll see whose it is. So this week's edition of Who Got That Dog in 'Em is brought to you by Piper Golf Balls. Pipe your drives using Piper Golf Balls and use our code Sports Scramble 10. Get 10% off some of these pro quality balls, but not pro quality price. So you get a little bit of a discount on them, and you get an extra 10% off. So, dog of the week, who got that dog in them? Futch, we'll let you start it off. I kind of like hinted at you.
Great, thanks. No, my dog of the week is a group of gentlemen, 11 guys on the defensive side of the ball, and that is the Washington Commanders holding the Dallas Cowboys to 6 points in their 26-6 win.
Even though it didn't really do anything for them, it was still awesome to see it.
If
Go
Dak
up.
Prescott chokes in the playoffs,
I think Sam
we're
Howell had
having
an
a
impressive
conversation.
debut too. I know he only had the lone touchdown, but I feel like that offense moved as good as it did the whole season.
You might see Dak Prescott on the move if
No,
Lamar becomes
God,
available.
No, I think
No.
that's an overreaction.
He's thrown 15 interceptions
I
in
know,
10
Yeah,
but
games.
that's pretty bad. Cooper
That is
Rush
pretty
is
bad,
Okay.
but like who
Jameis
else are going to go
Winston-
with Cooper Rush?
Jameis
I'd go
Winston
with
threw
Cooper
over
Rush.
30 because he complained that he couldn't see, so he had a LASIK eye surgery. He shouldn't even be in the league. He
But
should be
Jameis
flipping
Winston
burgers
was
at McDonald's.
swinging
for
it
people.
around out there in Week 18 with his team eliminated. Dak Prescott's going to throw one too many pick sixes in the playoffs, and then
Yeah.
Jerry Jones
I
is going to get
cannot wait
upset.
for a playoff talk.
Salvation Army commercials. That's Dak
That's
Prescott.
what
He's going to be
Dak's gonna
popping
doing.
out of the
And
Salvation.
Hulu is going to be doing what the Housewives of
Yeah.
Atlanta or whatever it is that he does it with.
Yeah.
Gets
Tyler,
sacked by them.
who's your dog of the week?
Who, mine?
Yeah, yours.
I'm going to go for a team here, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, this was a team that was literally the first overall pick in last year's draft. Drafting Trayvon Walker, I mean, he has been an absolute beast for that defense. I think the Jaguars defense going from last year's defense to this year's defense, definitely an improved group. So definitely easy pick going with the Jags.
I was thinking about the Jags as well. Wade, who you got?
All right, I'm going to give you two. One's kind of sarcastic, and then one's for real. All right, first one is not even a guy on the field, but it's Lovie Smith, the Houston Texans head coach, because he's like, well, if you're going to fire me, you're going to be stuck with the second pick. And if I'm going to stick around, okay, we're also going to have the second pick. So I thought that was funny that he went for two and they won the game. If they do can him, they'll be left with the everlasting memory of the second pick. Honestly, what might happen is they might have to make a trade with the Bears to get the first pick back and give up future capital. So that would be kind of funny.
They're still going to get their guy.
I mean, who do you think they're going after? I mean, the Bears are just going after a defensive player.
going after
The Bears will
defense.
sell that pick to a quarterback needy team that wants Bryce Young, like Vegas.
Yeah, but I mean, you got Bryce Young and CJ Stroud there. You think Texans are going to stick with Milsner?
No, they want Bryce Young, but somebody might jump him for Bryce Young.
That's true. That's true.
The Bears don't want to
What
pick
if-
number one overall. They want the value of the number one pick.
Oh.
And then
What
my
if-
real dog of the week, as far as performance goes, I'm going to give it to the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Cool name. And they kicked the tail of the North Dakota State Bison up north of them in North Dakota. They won the Battle of the Dakotas today, FCS champions, and they did it in a big fashion, winning by 20-plus points. So they capped off a really good season. I think they beat them in the regular season as well. So,
Just swept them.
yeah, it's kind of fun to see a little parity there at that level. I don't know if North Dakota State will ever make the jump to the FBS level. I know they did relax on the rule of stadium capacity, and that's been one thing that's holding them back from making that move. Can't really put any more seats in the Fargo Dome, but anyways, just given that level of college football, it'll love here on the segment.
Yeah, I saw that was going on today too, and I saw that the defending champs were down big time. My dog of the week, I've got two parts to it. I'm gonna go with Naheem Hines with the 2 kickoff returns, and the Bills win today. First one being the first play since the injury of DeMar Hamlin, taking it opening kickoff to the house. That
That was
just
pretty
kinda,
powerful, yeah.
yeah, it just kind of gave me chills there seeing that, and then the stadium going nuts. I was like, yeah, Patriots still have a shot. Second pick is DeMar Hamlin. I know this the episode went out after the injury happened, and we talked about it amongst each other. We've tweeted about it a little bit. Just, I mean, it's crazy what he's come back from. I mean, from getting CPR on the field, brought to the hospital, kind of, and I guess a medically induced coma, not really a coma, but they had him heavily sedated for a few days. So now I mean, he's not 100%, but he's talking, joking around. He watched the game today. I mean, prayer's a powerful thing, and it's just crazy to see him back to. I mean, he's talking about possibly trying to make a return, which I don't think he will. I mean, it's just something like that happens. Me personally, I wouldn't play football again. But the fact that he's, like the doctor said, won the game of life, he's got my pick for
That
dog of the
gave me
week.
chills right there. That quote,
Yeah, that was insane.
doctor saying back to them, like, phew, that got me.
Yeah, it was just a crazy, crazy week, and I hope to see him. I doubt he probably won't do like a press conference or anything for a while, but just see him posting messages on Twitter. It's great to see that he's doing good, and hopefully we'll make a full recovery. So that's our. I think that's probably an overall dog of the week from the four of us.
Yep.
When I watched it happen live, I was like, "Holy cow, this is crazy." So we'll see. I was texting, Matt Jones. He's in the comments. I was like, "Watch the Bills win the Super Bowl now." That would just be like storybook, like just the kickoff return was like a storybook ending, But if they go on to win the Super Bowl, which they have a very good chance of doing, I mean, that would just be like icing on the cake for them. So, dog of the week, Naheem Hines and DeMar Hamlin for me.
I think I think the last time that we've seen something like that, I kind of thought about it. The last time we saw any sort of injury to that degree or nature was probably 2012 with Tulane's wide receiver Devon Walker. It's been
in the
a
Georgia
long
game?
time
Mhm.
against Tulsa
Oh,
in
okay.
2012.
I was thinking about the
Um,
Southern University guy against Georgia, where they put him in
yeah,
the wheelchair.
yeah. So I mean, the same sort of thing where a guy has to be given CPR on the field.
I
It's
think that's
kind
a
of
true dog of the week.
yeah.
Is
I think it kind of
the
took
medical team they
everybody
gave.
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the medical team for sure.
Yeah, I think it was because I mean a lot of situations where we've seen that, in Devon Walker's situation, um, he never played football again. I mean, it's one of the situations where we see guys get very lucky, and DeMar Hamlin was a very lucky guy, and I
Mhm.
think you credit the medical staff for that, and because I mean Tulane's situation, Devon Walker, I mean he'll never be able to walk again. He is paralyzed from the neck down. They kind of talked about him briefly in that Tulane uh, USC Cotton Bowl win. I think, um, yeah, and I think a lot of people made a really good statement saying that people don't realize that these guys are human beings. I get that guys like us play fantasy football and we want guys to get 30 points a game or whatever for fantasy team, but at the end of the day these guys are human beings, and they're going out there and playing a very physical sport um, that requires a lot of energy, a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears. So, I mean, it really takes everybody back. And, people are emotional about it within, the NFL, which I can understand. Um, my my issue is that I don't think there's enough credit and enough praise for medical staff across the NFL as a whole and across professional sports. Um, a lot of them are third-party medical staff. And somebody brought to light that, the people that really matter off of the field is the medical staff. They're they're making close to nothing. I mean,
Yeah, I saw a picture. It was the people that make the least amount on the field that night, or the people that ended up saving his life.
right. I mean, and that really sheds a light on what they do day to
Mhm.
day and how they handle situations, no matter who it is. And I do like the fact that the privacy was respected by not only people within the NFL and as a whole, but the privacy was ultimately respected by the medical staff at University of Cincinnati Medical Center. So I do credit those doctors and everything, because it goes way off the field. It really does. So I think it was a big props to the medical staff for doing what they did, because every second matters in that situation. And ultimately, being in Cincinnati was probably a saving grace where that happened, and because it is actually the closest medical center to a stadium in the United States.
Wow, I didn't know that.
2 miles away. So I
Mhm.
mean, it's really close. So I think, yeah, it's crazy.
Very well said.
Yeah. Neil says after Naheem Hines returned the kickoff, he gave the touchdown ball to the trainer
As
who
he
was
should.
Oh, that's
administering
awesome.
CPR.
As he
I
should.
saw that on the sidelines. I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that up, Neil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it
I
was.
think the equipment manager for the Buffalo Bills also deserves a lot of credit, because they couldn't do anything until they got the face mask off of his helmet. Which
Oh
that
yeah, he
takes
had to run out there and get that sucker off in
Mhm.
Yeah.
lightning time.
Thing about it
Yeah.
is, and you don't want to move him too much, because of course in
Mhm.
that situation,
You don't know
they're
if his neck's
taught that to
broken. Yeah.
not move, to not move anybody in that situation. When somebody goes down like that and they're not responding. So yeah, a lot of credit to get that off and in time for them to do what they did.
Yeah. That's just everybody did their job that night, and that's why he's still here with us today.
Yep.
So it's just, you know, glory to God above for the prayers. I mean, it kind of like brought the whole nation
It
together.
did. I
and
mean, just look
it
at
was,
his toy drive. It was like $2,000 before this, and now it's in the millions. So I think it's
yeah,
as
exactly.
tragic it was. It really brought the league together and brought the nation together.
And
Yep,
it put it in
definitely.
perspective that it's football. Like
Yeah.
people are flipping out over whether two teams would play 17 games versus 16, and that's just not that big of a deal in the long term of things.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll all work out in the end, considering they all won their games today. The only thing that'll be different is if Kansas City and Buffalo play each other in the
Mhm.
in the
Just an
Well, the
AFC
interesting-
Championship game.
Bengals and Bills will probably play in the second round the way it shapes up now. So that will be interesting. The only thing that I think is a little disappointing in that regard is it will be in Buffalo. I think that with all that Cincinnati did in that situation, for them to have to go on the road and play that game would be a little disheartening, but it doesn't matter. It's playoff football. You're
Yeah.
going to
I
have to
do
go
Anything
win.
can happen when you get to the playoffs.
I
Yep.
do think, looking at Cincinnati, I don't want to say they got screwed in that situation, but
Oh, they
kinda
definitely
got
did.
they got the short end of a deal. In
Yeah,
that
especially if they would have had to do the coin flip for the wild card game. Yeah.
That's
Then
a
they
bit
were
ridiculous
pissed
to me.
about that.
Yeah,
They
that's a bit
definitely
ridiculous.
lost their chance at the 1 seed and really the 2 seed for that regard. So it was not a perfect situation, but I do think that maybe it fired up the Bengals a little bit too. And I don't think that they're going to be too upset. They still have a opportunity in front of them, but it will be a little bit tougher of a path. But I think they handled it really well, and Buffalo did as well. I think it helped that he did somewhat recover over the last couple of days, gave people the ability to go back out there and play.
Yeah.
But what about Joe Mixon doing the coin flip with the
No, that was
quarter in
good.
the end zone after the touchdown? That was
I mean,
wild. I was like, man, that
I wonder
think
what
it
it
was
landed
back.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
Honestly, they should
there should
just
have been a
let
bet on that.
Cincinnati play the Dolphins and Buffalo play the Ravens, because who wants to see games we just
Yeah.
saw again?
Right. They speaking of Cincinnati, I couldn't find a TMZ story of the week. There wasn't that much out there. But I've got a quote of the week that I sent y'all. It's from Mr. Joey B himself. When asked on the Bengals championship window, what's your timeline? He responds with, the window's my whole career. I mean, the dude, it's just all time. Watch out, Tom Brady. This guy's the GOAT. I mean, let's be real. Joey B, even if they don't win, the just swagger and confidence he has makes you want to bet on him every week. So,
me
Look at the
Let me say
AFC
this.
quarterback lineup, and then look at the NFC quarterback lineup.
It's so young, and then you have oldies on the other side.
The best name on the NFC is going to be Aaron Rodgers if they win that game right now, and he's
right now it's 9-3.
probably the
Packers
worst one out of the
Lions.
the 14 quarterbacks in the playoffs.
I mean, I would say every quarterback on the AFC minus Baltimore.
Tua at times has been better than every quarterback on the NFC side, other than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. You've got Patrick Mahomes, what's his name? Long hair from Jacksonville.
You got Trevor, you got Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow.
Whatever
Lamar
Dolphins
Jackson.
quarterback runs out of there.
Yeah, you don't know who's playing for Baltimore.
Teddy Bridgewater, Skylar Thompson, or Tua.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lamar's going to be back next week.
It's going to be
I
Dan
think they just
Marino
let out
playing,
Huntley
so
as
no.
well.
Dan Marino, yeah, that's what they need right about now.
Yeah,
I think
they're
Huntley's
definitely
healthy.
sending Lamar out for Baltimore. And then Tua, look, he's played with 3 concussions this season. What's one more? Just send him out there for the playoffs.
Jeez,
Let him get a
golly.
shot. I mean, well, I'm saying that's what they're thinking. I mean, he's already played through 3 of them. Might as well.
Can we
put him out
talk
there
about
for
how they were
another
going to fire their coach going into the game today, and then they won 11-3 or 11-6, which
That's
is
what I
already
was
a
gonna
weird
bring
score.
up. His because of the safety to end the game. Sucks for the Jets. The Jets were -3.5 and they covered, or +3.5, sorry, and they were covering until the safety at the end of the game. But yeah, what's his name? McDaniels, that's his last name, right? Am I thinking of the right guy? Yeah. He was on the hot seat based on the total collapse of the season they had, and also just the mishandling of the Tua situation. I think was probably why they were thinking about firing him. So, I mean, you think if they make it through, I mean, they probably won't beat Buffalo, but do you think them winning today kind of saves his job?
No.
Yeah, but
No,
It's a
Fudge thinks
first-year
he's
coach.
done.
I say yes, but they will not hesitate to dump Tua for a bag of bricks if
I
they
feel
can
like
get
the
their
only
hands on the
way
right
that
guy.
would be plausible if they fire him and then hire Sean Payton, which what they wanted to do a couple of years ago, whenever they fired Brian Flores.
I mean,
That
Sean
was the
Payton-
only way that it makes sense if they fire him.
They
Because I think it would
honestly
be too
might
early.
bring in Jimmy Garoppolo to run the show next year.
the coach or to be the
That would be
quarterback.
your best bet.
No, to be the quarterback.
Okay, I was about to say. Hold on now. We're talking Jimmy G going into the head coach.
I don't think they're
already?
sold on Tua just because you can't really be with his health concerns. And McDaniel schemed everything up to perfection, and he's got 2 of the best wide receivers in the league. If they can get a running back in free agency, which they will, because it's a very good free agency class. I mean, they should be first in line for Josh Jacobs. There's no excuse for that offense to not be humming, and you got to look at the quarterback of that situation. So with him not being healthy and him not being a top 5 quarterback in the AFC, I mean, they have every right to look around.
So
Think about it.
before,
I mean,
go ahead, Jacob.
really in the AFC East, there's only one true starter in all of the AFC East, and that's Josh Allen. I mean, everywhere else across the AFC East, New England, I don't think Mac Jones is the answer, nor is Bailey Zappi. I don't think in Miami, I don't think Tua is the answer, and Tyrod Taylor is definitely not the answer.
Oh, you don't love Tyrod? Come on, man.
No, he's not. He's moved around too much. That guy has a
I mean,
house in
Teddy
every
B?
major city.
It's not.
or,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Teddy
not
B,
Tyrod
Tyrod.
ain't
yeah.
there
Teddy
no more.
B.
I don't even know where Tyrod
they
is.
might
these
as well
days.
Same
be
concept.
They might as well be the same person. They both got serious concussions, and they both have
Tyrod
they have a house in every city in
is the
America.
backup on the Giants.
Hey! I don't
But
want
he
to take
didn't
no
play
Teddy
today.
Two Gloves slander.
The Saints could use
Good
Teddy
backup.
Two Gloves. I mean, come on.
Probably.
But and then in the Jets situation, I don't think they started Joe Flacco, which is a mess.
Yeah. Was Mike
mean-
White hurt?
Yeah, but they
Okay.
also were eliminated from the playoffs going into today, so they want to
Yeah,
get as
no
good of a
point.
pick as
Yeah.
they can get. But I agree, Jacob. I mean, now's the time to capitalize. What other division do you only have one capable quarterback starting in? The answer is the NFC South for the
Right.
Yeah. Brady.
But
That's true.
it's time to take advantage of that. You got the receivers down. You got a good offensive-minded coach. Probably have the money to go get a running back. So you got to get quarterback right.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of different options out there. At quarterback. Problem is that you have teams settling for guys that are currently backups on teams right now. If you're gonna go get a quarterback, go get a quarterback. There's a problem, with that. I think you're gonna see a lot of that come available after the NFL draft, based on some of these teams. Because let's say I mean, ultimately, Bryce Young's going to go to Houston, we think. When that happens, I think they're just going to push Davis Mills to the bench. He's going to be your backup. But
Long neck Mills.
once you get to CJ Stroud, I mean, where is CJ Stroud going to go? And I think that's a toss up in the air as well. If CJ Stroud is going to be the answer at one of these places, it's probably in the AFC, believe it or not.
Probably Vegas.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's
Vegas is definitely
see.
a big landing spot there because Jarrett Stidham is
I
not
mean, he's
going
not
to
going to fall
quarterback.
from
Draft order, I think
CJ
it
Stroud
goes.
is going to be a top 10 pick.
It goes Chicago, Houston, Seattle via
No,
Denver,
they're
or
good with
Denver
don't
won
think
today. So I
Seattle
think
does
I think
hit
it's
this
Arizona now. What's that? Way?
Arizona's going to need help.
Yeah, but
I think
I don't think they draft a quarterback.
I think
No,
he
they're
either
not gonna
sits
draft
in
a
Detroit
quarterback.
for a couple of years or he goes to Vegas.
You think the Colts are sold on Sam Ellinger?
No, sorry.
That could be the first potential. Yeah, feels like
The Colts
a good
will
fit for
either
Stroud to
take
do it.
him or Kentucky boy.
The Panthers are projected
No.
number 9. Well, they probably.
Well, they're going to be, if they take Kentucky boy, they're going to be in the same situation that they're in right now.
The Panthers will take whatever quarterback they can get their hands on because
The
Sam
Panthers will
Darnold
take Will
was looking
Levis.
like the guy until today.
The Panthers,
43
I'm telling
yards
you,
and
will
still in the
take
game.
Will Levis. I think the Panthers are going to go with him, no doubt.
Real quick, while
that'll
we're
be
talking
great.
about college, Cameron, listening to the show right now, he just sent me this little nugget about the national championship. Bennett has a chance to lead the Bulldogs to back-to-back national championships with Coach Kirby Smart. He's 28-3 as a starter since his first start in 2020. So put the money on TCU. 28-3, baby. Bad luck number right there. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons and Matt Ryan.
This has got to be the first time that we're talking about a college football national championship with 2 of the 4 Heisman.
It's not Alabama or
and not caring about the quarterbacks. I mean, Max Duggan is probably all TCU has, but neither one is like.
They'll both be
elite.
like 3rd round, 4th round picks.
Yeah, neither we've been talking about like Tua and Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow.
And they might be better than
guys,
some of these quarterbacks that's going in the top 10.
Yeah.
There he is. C-Money AZ on Twitch. Never trust a Georgia team at 28-3.
Good thing the Braves can't get up
I'm
that
the
high.
lone dog.
Oh, you don't want to trust the Seattle team either. Based on our
Cameron, it would be
Sports
funnier
Scramble
if it was
parlay.
28-2 and that 28-3 was just dangling out there like a carrot for him to.
Yeah, the loss makes him
steal it.
28-3.
I can't trust that anymore because Georgia got over the hump last year, so they broke the curse. It's just a Falcons curse at this rate.
Yeah, it's just a Matt Ryan curse, blowing leads.
Yeah.
So Sports Scramble parlay, we had the Giants to cover against the Eagles, which was looking slim for a while, but they covered the plus 14.
Webb brought us home.
Yes. Let's talk about. They showed his family and his girlfriend in the box. They looked like they hated each other. There was his girlfriend sitting mean mugged like this. Then an empty space, and then his parents. Both
at the wrong.
They showed him multiple times because that was the game that I caught over here in Central Texas.
Why are the cameramen obsessed with families from now on?
I don't know. You talk about I think who was it? Michigan's quarterback, his dad touching his girlfriend's butt. The little cop to field halfway through at the end of the game. They caught that one on camera. They're all obsessed with the families and like the girlfriends or the wives. It's like Brett
Musburger back in the day with AJ McLaren's girlfriend.
Man, that guy was he almost got a court case after that one. But we had the Chargers +3 against the Broncos, which they pushed. So that it eliminated that leg out of our parlay. And all we needed was Seattle to score a freaking touchdown. And they couldn't do it in overtime. And they lost, or they kicked a field goal. So we took Seattle -6 against the Rams, which I did say earlier in the week that I thought we should take the Rams +6, but I was outvoted. So
we didn't really have a vote.
Yeah, I didn't vote on that.
Tyler just told me no. And I was like, I don't know, man. The bake show, it's cooking.
We should have just took the 49ers. I think we overthink.
Yeah, we should have just taken the 49ers over the Cardinals.
They destroyed the Cardinals.
It is what it is. parlay to end the season didn't work out. Maybe we'll do I'm tired of betting on the cover. Let's just bet money line. Just pick money line picks for the playoffs.
All right, we'll let you start tomorrow with TCU.
Yeah, TCU money line. We couldn't go with that.
Do a little experiment. See if it works out for you.
But parlay was close. Just wasn't horseshoes or hand grenades, so didn't count. Let's talk NFL playoffs here. The AFC is locked up with Jacksonville taking on the Chargers. Futch, who do you think wins that game?
I think Jacksonville wins that game. I think they've got a lot of momentum right now. The Chargers sneaky won double-digit games this year. Nobody paid attention to them, kind of just because the way their offense worked all through Austin Eckler. I mean, that was their whole season right there. I think
he was great for fantasy owners. I'm drafting him next year for sure.
I think Jacksonville has a lot to look at. Defensively, I think they're a better team than the Chargers. There's a lot of teams out there defensively better than the Chargers. It doesn't look like that when you look at the roster and the lineups for the Chargers, but on paper, the Chargers would win that. But on the field, I think Jacksonville has a lot of momentum, and they have a head coach with a ton of experience in the playoffs. So I think they win that.
If they win that, they'll go on to take on the Chiefs. It'll be the battle of the comic book characters between Trevor Lawrence and Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, I like that.
We'll let Wade take the next one. Cincinnati, Baltimore. Who's your pick on that one, Wade?
I thought I got to cover Jacksonville as well. I'm taking the Jags too in that one. All right, Cincinnati and Baltimore. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think Cincinnati gets it done. They did it today. Lamar probably will be back, but I don't think he'll be 100%. And Joe Burrow will be locked in.
Okay, I like it. I'm with you on Cincinnati there. And then the last one, Tyler, Buffalo, Miami.
I get the easy one.
Yeah, you get the easy one. Wait till you get to the NFC.
I'll agree with y'all. I have the Jaguars. Unlike my preseason self, I don't have the Chargers going all the way. I think that the Jaguars defense and the Bengals, I think that the way that they've been playing, and they've really dominated the Ravens this season, so I think they'll sweep them on the series. And the Bills, I think it's going to be easy. I think it's not going to be a close ball game. I think that the way that the Bills are playing, especially with the momentum that they've had in the past a couple of weeks, you got to go with the Bills, especially in Buffalo. They don't lose many games in Buffalo.
Really, yeah. So we're looking at a Kansas City, Jacksonville, and a Cincinnati Buffalo matchup for the AFC divisional round. Over to the NFC. It's not final yet. Let's see. What's the score? 9-6 at halftime between the Packers and the Lions. So we'll save that one for last. But, Tyler, I'll let you start it off. Minnesota versus New York. Do you think the Giants repeat their domination that they had a couple weeks ago, or Minnesota figures it out?
Well, yeah, these two teams literally just met a couple of weeks ago, and the Vikings won 27-24, but that's not going to happen again. I'm going to go with the Giants. I think that they get it done behind Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. I think that their defense is definitely going to test Kirk Cousins, and whenever it comes to big games, Kirk Cousins always lets you down. So I think that the Giants are going to take it and pull off the first upset of the weekend.
Unless they're playing the Saints.
That's true.
Primetime Kirk is no time Kirk.
Especially in the primetime game, yeah.
Yeah, Futch, Tampa Bay versus Dallas.
I'm gonna take the Cowboys in that one. I just don't. Tampa Bay doesn't have any offense, for my liking, and too many mishaps. Games are close only because of their defense. Dallas is gonna air it out. I think Dallas might get their first playoff win in a long time. I just them being at home is a big advantage. So I think they ultimately.
Well, they're not
can
at
win
home;
it.
they're in Tampa.
Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's kind of stupid, actually.
It's a division.
Well, it's because Tampa won the division, but I really don't think that probably impacts it too much.
Well, actually, Tampa beat Dallas in Dallas, but Tampa beat Tampa in Tampa last year, so I guess it's just
right. Yeah, I just think Dallas has more weapons. I think Dalton Schultz is a big key for them in that game, and I think he has been all year. So I think that's a big difference for them.
I might have read this bracket wrong. Does the number 1 seed just play the lowest seed out of the people that advance?
it reseeds. So
Yeah.
if the Dolphins were to beat the Bills, then the Bengals would not play the Dolphins. They would play the Jaguars.
Oh, so then you got
Being the 1 seed is very big in the NFL playoffs.
you got
I don't
Kansas City
personally like
take.
that it reseeds.
I don't like that. That's stupid.
So Kansas City would take on Miami if they were to win.
Yeah.
Which would be
Correct.
a steamroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
That's
I don't
And a little
particularly like
Tyreek
that.
Hill revenge tour. Okay, back on the NFC side, Wade, San Francisco versus either Seattle or Green Bay, which right now Green Bay's winning against the Lions, so it could possibly be them, but I don't know if that really changes things unless you think otherwise.
No, I think that San Francisco would handle either one of those teams. You do have to kind of stop and think out of respect for Aaron Rodgers, but then you have to think about it in 2022 terms, 2023 terms, and that team's just nowhere on the level of how San Francisco is playing right now. And I just don't think that Rodgers would have the firepower to go back and forth with not necessarily Brock Purdy, but Christian McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey could put up 3 touchdowns in that game.
Actually, I lied. I do have a TMZ sports segments for y'all. You want to know why Aaron Rodgers has been having so much success lately?
Oh gosh.
He's dating the Milwaukee Bucks daughter.
There you go.
Owner's daughter.
TMZ headline: Aaron Rodgers dating Bucks owner's daughter Mallory Edens. So there you go, Aaron Rodgers. All you gotta do is
That
chase after
Wisconsin
him.
bloodline right there, man.
Yeah. So he's
And he said he wanted to go back out west, and he's dating a Midwestern gal.
He got rid of the certified witch that he was dating, that he was doing LSD on the field with, and he got into, I guess, someone a little more normal, and he's doing better. So
I think we hype up Aaron Rodgers too much. I'm gonna say it now.
If we can we
haircut.
quickly run down through each game in our picks so I can make a graphic this week?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so here's what we've got. Philadelphia taking on the Giants and Dallas taking on San Francisco.
Well, I just need to know like everyone's picks for each game this week.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I meant.
I'm taking Dallas. Futch, you taking Dallas? Wade, you taking Dallas or Tampa Bay?
I'll take Dallas.
Tyler?
Actually, you know what?
I'm taking Tampa Bay at home.
You know what? I thought about that real quick. I'm taking Tampa.
Tom
Okay.
Brady in the
Because it's the Raven
playoffs, I
game.
think it's going to be on another level.
Yeah.
All right, well, 2-2 on that one. I'm taking Kirk O'Bangs in Minnesota. Him and Jay
Yeah,
Jett is going to
I
get it
am
done.
too.
Hey, I'll take a lone Giants.
Hey,
man.
you were
taking
the
the-
lone giant. in
I'm
the
riding the
preseason.
Giants the
It
whole
worked
way.
out for you.
Riding
Yeah.
the whole Giants.
I can't
I
believe
think-
this guy's backing a New York team for the friggin' playoffs.
He did. He backed them from day
Hey,
one.
I've been on them all
man.
season. It's like I've been hopping on the bandwagon.
New
I
York
told
Giants.
you
They're
I'm
gonna
getting
break
Tyler
your
to
heart,
be
good.
good.
You were
They're
bashing me
gonna
that they're going to be
break your
they're going to
little
be
heart,
4 and
just
12
like the
again with
Yankees do
who
every
cares about Daniel Jones and all that. Oh.
Tyler, if the Giants win the NFC, you have to commit to Daniel Jones as your fantasy quarterback next year.
All right.
Futch,
Sounds
I had to
good.
mute you there because I could not understand what anybody was saying since everybody was talking at the same time.
I was just going on a rant.
Yeah, I know. I was like, all right, guys, hold on. Let's take a second here.
That first take up in here.
Yeah, really. So I think we're all in San Francisco. I think that's
Yeah.
probably a given.
I just think especially if Green Bay gets in there. I mean, San Francisco has owned them in the playoffs.
Back on the AFC side, I'm going Jacksonville.
Jags.
Ooh,
Wait.
man. We're going all Jags? Okay.
All Jags. I think
That's
we're
weird.
all on
Believe
Bengals.
in Trevor.
I think we're all on Joey.
I'm
B.
only
I don't
going
believe
with
in
that
Trevor.
because I literally watched them win by 30 points earlier this year. So
Cincinnati, Baltimore. I think we're all on Joey B.
Yep.
And then I think we're pretty much all
Yeah. Buffalo.
So there's your graphic for this week, Tyler.
All right.
We'll put it out.
That's all I need.
A few other headlines to wrap up the show. We've got Broncos granted permission to interview Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh. By take, go ahead and mark it. Hour and 25, Wade. I think the Broncos hire Jim Harbaugh. I think they take him from Michigan and make him the next head coach solely because it's going to take a lot of capital for the Saints to give up Sean Payton because they need some draft picks and they need players. So I think it's going to be like a big time deal. Where if you're Jim Harbaugh, the Broncos pretty much just like pay your buyout from Michigan, and that's it. They don't have to give up draft picks. They don't have to give up players, a bunch of cash. So unless another candidate pops up, I think the Broncos are hiring Jim Harbaugh. We'll see what happens in a few months. You're against it, Futch? You think they hire somebody else?
Harbaugh ain't leaving Michigan. That's just a headline to stir.
I don't
up.
see
don't
him.
know,
I don't
man.
see
Those
Sean
people
Payton
get
going there
bored.
either, because why would you want to go into the same division with Patrick Mahomes and face him twice? And when you took a year off, I would
Yeah.
definitely go somewhere else if I'm Sean Payton. I would go to either like probably one of the LA teams, especially the
Sean-
Rams, before going to the Mahomes division, pretty much.
I think
If
you
Sean
might
Payton wanted a
see-
cash-strapped team with no quarterback and no draft picks, he would just go right down the street to the Saints. So
Yeah.
he ain't going to Denver.
I also think he may just stay as an announcer. He said that today. He broke down his conversation with Denver's owner, which I thought was pretty cool to see him do. And then he said, I also may just stay here at NBC because I've got the best roster in the game, or Fox, whoever he's with. And he was
Yeah,
naming
he's
all
with
the
Fox.
all the
And
analysts.
Tom Brady's going to be with Fox too whenever he decides to retire.
So I mean,
If
why
the
take-
Arizona job opens up, though, that's a pretty good job. I mean,
Yeah.
be able to live in Scottsdale or Glendale, and
Yeah.
He's living in Los Angeles right now, so that's like why he prioritizes the two LA teams before anybody else.
Speaking of Los Angeles, Sean McVay on the hot seat after
hey,
this
trade a
season's
Sean for a
performance.
Sean.
Yeah. I mean, I know they won the
could
Super
do
Bowl
media
last
and
year.
one Sean could coach.
Well, I think Sean McVay is probably going to do what Sean Payton did, maybe take a year off and see what he wants to do, because I think he already said it that he doesn't want to do this forever. So maybe he takes a year off and goes either, do I just want to retire now and just, enjoy life, because coaching can be a stressful job to do, or do you, want to go into reporting and all that? I don't know.
Well, if he goes into reporting, he needs to head on over to YETI and get himself a mug to keep his coffee hot throughout the day. And if he spends over $50, which I know Sean McVay, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, all of them can afford to do, he could get free shipping. So head on over to YETI, use our link, get you some mugs, some ice chests. Like Ask Futch, they stay closed and frozen throughout the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, wherever.
He's never going to let that go.
I know, durable for any adventure. So head on over to our link, help us out, and get you some free order or free shipping on orders over $50. I mean, we've got the national championship tomorrow. If you're watching this on Sunday night, on Tuesday, you'll know who was right and who was wrong. We've got the NFL playoffs kicking off. Golf's coming back, which I'm happy about because I like to watch golf. Played a little golf this weekend. Did decent out here in the new course. They had the Tournament of Champions in Honolulu. Only thing I want to add is John Rahm is back. He came from 7 back, shot 10 under today, and defeated Colin Morikawa. If I was looking at the odds, and I told Wade I thought about putting some money on him. He was plus 4,100 at the turn to win the tournament, and he ended up winning it. So it definitely would have been a way to cash out, but didn't make it happen. So that kind of wraps up what I've got. Y'all got anything else?
No, sir.
That's about it for me.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave y'all with the Go Horned Frogs.
Yeah, I'll
And
back it.
thanks for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, check us out. Leave us a like, comment, hit the subscribe button. Do what you got to do. We got NASCAR Neil going to be coming back soon. 42 days until NASCAR season's back. We'll have NASCAR Neil on to preview the season. If you don't mind, if you enjoy the show, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, rating 5-star, the whole shebang. Promote it, send it to your friends. Do what you got to do to keep the boys chumming and churning in 2023. So without that, boys, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight, and I appreciate everybody for listening. Have a good one.